Hello, friends. I hope this finds you in good health and secure. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your practice, your engagement in these resources from this channel of thousands of videos to the podcast, the audio podcast, the threefoldlotus.com website. Lots of free information there, which I'm going to talk about a little bit today because before I dive into this book, which we're going to get into next, a collection of Nichiren's writings specifically dealing with the mandala and Gohonzon. We just finished a series on the 3,000 realms, and I want to make sure that not only that you understand this method, this Lotus method of self-enlightenment, but that I give you tools. That's the point of this resource, that you can use for yourself, and when others ask questions, as a kind of a structure or a template to help you explore the profundity of Buddhism. Because on the surface, it's real simple. Can be as easy as you need to chant. But right away, questions comes, what is chanting? What are we trying to do? What is the point? So I put a PDF together this morning and put it up on the website. I guess I could show you that first. I'll show you that right now. On the, the home.htm page on threefoldlotus.com, it's the core study materials page. It says it right at the top there, core study materials. I've been adding buttons. You notice my software changes. They don't all match, obviously. They used to, but I don't think that's as important as the information. But you'll see partway down the Lotus Method. And that's what I want to talk about today. Again, it has to do with what the heck we're doing. And you've heard me talk about the speed of causality, or the speed of light, but it's really the speed of causality. That's why it's a C. And so in this first slide, I'm talking about, how long is a moment? We talk about 3,000 realms in a single thought moment. How long is a moment? It's the speed of causality, moment to moment to moment. So how we experience life, the engine of life that we're experiencing moment to moment. I've often heard even teachers talk about being in the world of insert world here, like animality, or in the world of bodhisattva, or you're in the world of hunger, or you're in the world of hell or anger or whatever. I really want you to understand that is misleading. I won't say it's inaccurate, although I want to. It's inaccurate in that it gives you the impression that mentally we move into a certain sphere of being. That's just not the case. Buddhism is so much more profound than that. So I made this little slide set here for you to understand that in a moment, the 3,000 realms in a single moment of life looks more like this. If you look at E equals MC squared and you see the C there, I know it's squared, but the C is causality. And the speed of causality, or light, is 299,792,458 meters per second. That's because it's measuring the distance traveled by light. But the distance, forget the distance for the moment. It's a one. Whether it's 1 meter or 1 moment, okay? Look at that M as a moment rather than meter, and you'll start to understand what Buddhism is saying. That's almost 300 million, that's unfathomable, moments per second. And if you do the math, moment is a second over 300 million, right? It's just so inconceivable. And we experience 3,000 realms in a moment. That means that in every second that we experience our lives, we transmigrate through almost 900 billion different realms. Now, I don't know about you, but conceiving of a billion, just 1 billion, it's hard. It's simple. A million is hard to wrap one's head around. To enumerate a million in your mind right now. 900 billion. And so you're never, ever in any perceptible singular realm. And that's the point Buddhism is saying. You cannot experience any specific realm independent of all the others. You're transmigrating through, if you have to enumerate it, 900 billion different realms at every thought moment in a second, yeah? By your practice of Lotus Sutra method, instantiating Buddha, NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, with every daimoku, you are influencing 900 billion realms each second of your existence towards the truth of life in every moment of your life and environment, because it's all happening, those 900 billion realms. You're transmitting. You can't think that fast. But it's all occurring in each second, right? 1001. In that much time, you're experiencing via your freight train of karma. And while you're experiencing that freight train of karma, are you really aware of 900 billion choices? I kind of doubt it. So you can see that why I call it a freight train of karma, because all that energy that's instantiating from fields of potential is just keeping up with itself and responding, interacting with the entire engine of life, the universe, yes? The whole matrix. So if you can identify a direction to that vast momentum, and you can focus in on NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, Buddhahood, I need to instantiate the highest potential of all of this energy toward perceiving more of the worlds and having compassion and experiencing the totality of potential, not just the tendencies that my train has. Then, the moment you have that, you have a glimpse. 900 billion flashing by your train windows. And you have a glimpse. You move and you start to see the vastness of the energy of life in your tendencies and outside your tendencies. Now you can gravitate to tendencies that you never knew were available to you. And you can start to diminish tendencies that get in your way, that don't create a foundation of experience of the whole of potential. You can start to mediate the momentum of that freight train and direct it toward the most brilliant of tendencies, instantiations. Right? That's the Lotus Method. And when we have those moments when we see it happening, when your mandala starts to shift on you and where am I? What's happening? You're starting to experience more of the engine of life than you normally would in your freight train. You're expanding your experience, yeah? That, I get it. That's Renge. That Renge is exactly the door, the Gohonzon mind opening to the entirety of the engine of life. That's Buddhahood. And that's when you understand this method, this ultimate teaching of Shakyamuni. The Lotus Method is the cause and effect. You hear it all the time, cause and effect. Well, what is the cause? The cause is your focused energy invocating your enlightenment, your Buddhahood. Gohonzon is in your mind. It is that door that you walk through when you invoke your Buddha-ness that transmigrates you out of your freight train of energy, or more inclusively with your freight train of energy, to encompass the tendencies and potentials outside your life tendencies, to perceive the entirety of the process of life. That's why after cause comes momentum. It's the redirection, the additional momentum, the expansion of your life experience, which provides you with insight, Renge, Gohonzon. And what do you perceive with all of that effort? The effect. The effect is your experience of Buddha via that open door that you've provided outside of your freight train of karma to experience the entirety of the engine of life. Right? Does that make sense? It's a visual, they're like, what do you call them when you learn music or alphabet or, the flashcards. They're like flashcards to remind you how this process works. This is the entire point of Shakyamuni's 50-some years of teaching. And Tendai's enlightenments. And Miao and Dengyo repeating them and trying to transliterate those points to their contemporaries. Nichiren is our contemporary for our time period, our 10,000-year period of propagation. Absolutely essential for us then to really understand at a very straightforward level what it is we're doing and why and how, right? All of these W's, right? We learn about those in junior high. Even though one of them isn't really a W, it's an H, but, right, the 5 W's. How? Well, anyway, point is, I really, 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 really want you to get this point, that with every daimoku you chant, you are expanding your experience of over 900 billion potential directions. They're not static things. They're just opportunities to experience. I mean, by default, we experience just the iceberg tip of what our freight train of karma is pushing along through time. We barely perceive what the hell is going on. We're just waiting to react. And we see certain things happening all the time, and we make the mistake of seeing those things that call our attention as who we are, a self. What a delusion. Out of the hundreds of thousands of monkeys shouting at us what we can or cannot do, or perceive, or have, own, we, the one monkey that gets our attention, we say, oh, that's me. How little do we know about who we are? And so with the Lotus Method, we not only, with the mandala, thank you Nichiren, with the mandala, we can silence those thousands and thousands of monkeys, and now we're left with just the energy of the momentum, right? NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Oh, it's not just the monkeys. There's a lot more going on, and I've just never been able to pay attention to it. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Wow, I'm outside the freight train now. I'm outside the warehouse, the database. Look at all of this. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Once you start to perceive that your mind is opening, that's Gohonzon, that opening. Now you start to experience, see, validate, own, if you will, a much bigger slice of the pie. All your life, without Buddhism, without Lotus Sutra, you've not even been the pie. You've been one little crumb in the crust of the pie because you just can't see. But when your mind opens, renge, just like the lotus flower, suddenly, sky, universe, potential, I can instantiate into any of these. I'm not limited by this freight train that manifested this wonderful apparatus, but this apparatus only exists to instantiate this consciousness, this mind. Why am I not using it? NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, can't go back. Right? So that's the Lotus Method. And less than 20 minutes, but make use of the study page on the website. Look at there's so many, I could scroll this page. There's so many links to so many basic questions that we all have about Buddhism. Use these documents, not just for yourself as a reminder, posting it on the refrigerator or whatever you choose to do. That's up to you. Whatever you need is the point here, But also, there's gonna come a day when people are starting to ask you, what are you doing? Your skin looks so much better. You always seem to be able to this, that, whatever. How do you do it? Somebody told me you're a Buddhist. I've always been curious about Buddhism. What is it? How do you do that? What's your first reaction? We need to get together sometime. Not here at work. This isn't the place. Or not here at whatever. Why don't you come over to my place and, I'll chant. We'll chant together. Oh, you chant? What do you chant? Let's wait until we get together. We'll do it together. You need for them to chant or they won't hear you correctly. They will hear you. Let me correct what I just said, because that sounds like one's better than the other or whatever. That's not what I want to say. What I want to say is, do you remember when you weren't Buddhist, when you weren't practicing Buddhism? Buddhists to a non-Buddhist looked like something other, something weird, something interesting, something foreign. And so when you start saying this or that, words like chanting or even the daimoku, NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, which if you're courageous, you can do. You can tell, repeat after me. You ever said this? And NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo, get them to chant. You might stop their progress right there, because with that, their karma will come up. and they don't understand how to deal with it. This is why I'm very much in favor of shoju. And that should always be the default, unless it's necessary to do shakubuku. But shakubuku is appropriate amongst Buddhists because you already have a foundation of understanding. But to somebody who's never actually endeavored to do Buddhism, shakubuku, you'll alienate more than you gain. So I don't recommend it. Shoju. Oh, you want... Be gentle. They don't know. Don't hammer them over the head right off the bat. They're not ready. Other Buddhists, yeah, like Nichiren, they need to be hammered, yeah? But Nichiren didn't do that to non-Buddhists, right? Medieval Japan was Buddhist, quote unquote. So everyone was Buddhist around him. It was appropriate for Nichiren, but even Nichiren didn't use shakubuku all the time. So be compassionate. Welcome anyone who's curious. Come to my home, I'll show you. That's an invitation, a human to human. I can be your friend. Come over, we'll talk. Once they're in your home, they've made a commitment. And so when you spring NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo on them, they're more likely to sit around and see. They'll be confused. They'll be antsy. You want to make them comfortable. Maybe these slides will be a nice tool for you to talk. And these slides have very deep concepts in them. Could you imagine just starting out? First of all, chant together. Make sure their mind is prepared. It's the first time they've had the dust swept away from a door that's never been opened. It's scary. They don't know what's up. But if you just get that door ajar, that Gohanzon door, just and prepare them, then you could spring this document on them. And from page 1, words come up, ideas come up. You could spend the next 3 months with a student on the first slide. Let's look at it again. Moments, speed of causality, 3,000 realms in a single thought moment of life. Those are huge concepts. You could spend many evenings talking about that. Don't rush it. What's that mean? 3,000 realms? Well, there's another link I can go to. There's another link. Where is 3,000 realms? There it is, 3,000 realms chart. Well, let's see what that says. Wow, lots of subjects there to talk about. Hey, it was really great for you to come over. I'm sorry it got so deep so fast, like you didn't know. Oops. But you've given them a ton to think about, yeah? Hey, I like to, before you go, oh, would you like some pie? Would you like whatever? No, but they're ready to go. Oh, before you go, can you just chant with me for a couple of minutes? Just to make sure all of this has a chance to sink in. We Buddhists, we like to do that. It means we part on the same level as we've gotten together. Right? Human to human. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Thank you. And I want to thank you. Let's just chant together for just a minute. I know you got to go, but just a minute. Okay? Chant with me. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. You'll notice their daimoku sounds different than when they first got there. Just pay attention. You're doing this for them. So pay attention to them. Right? They're not there to see what a wizard you are. That's up to you and your ego. When somebody wants to know about Buddhism, you're their parent. Be gentle. Be attentive. Be aware. Your practice will grow by leaps and bounds if your intent and your attitude are as bodhisattva. That is key. All right, I've gone on longer than I wanted to. I just want you to use these materials, all of them, to expand your practice and your confidence and your experience, right? This is how it happens. NaMuMyoHoRenGeKyo. Thank you again. Please take care of your health, your environment, your friends, your loved ones. In that regard, I'm supremely grateful, as we all are, for the support of liking, subscribing, donations, buying books, ebooks on threefoldlotus.com to support this effort for all of us, right? Thanks again. I'll see you in the next one.